The anime community has been around for decades, and considering just how many anime have come out and been watched by the masses, I wouldn't be surprised if fans have developed prejudice or even stereotypes when it comes to judging anime. That's one of the reasons why there are hundreds of underrated gems hidden beneath the popular anime. Because how is a good anime going to get popular if fans start judging even before taking the time to actually watch it? Now, I'm not going to get too much into this. I just wanted to share this idea a little because maybe, just maybe, the same thing is happening to Ahiru no Sora that's been preventing a lot of anime fans from watching this gem. So the question is, why should you watch Ahiru no Sora? Is it because this anime is the next Kirk no Basket? Nope. Seriously, that's the dumbest thing people have come up with for describing this anime. I mean, I can see why some people are trying so hard to compare this anime to Kirk no Basket, considering how they are both about basketball. But that's just wrong and downright dumb. I may not be the smartest guy in the world, but I can see the substantial disconnect between Ahiru no Sora and Kirk no Basket. Alright, let's just talk about both of these anime and see where each stands. While both Ahiru no Sora and Kirk no Basket are about basketball, the difference between the two narratives of both anime is tremendous. This may sound a bit exaggerated, but this is how I think. Kirk no Basket is like a premium class pizza. It'll taste like heaven, but it is still just fast food. At the end of the day, it will leave you unfulfilled. While Ahiru no Sora is like a full course meal. You'll enjoy it, but only nice and slow. Now, as I said before, I totally exaggerated that. There's no way you can just compare two anime as if they're food. But the thing is, Kirk no Basket is mostly about mutant prodigies. It is the story of how a genius can take a person to a totally different realm, and then at one point, they don't even know the pain of losing and the thrill of victory. On the other hand, Ahiru no Sora is an underdog story. It states loud and clear that just because you have talent, you won't win. Or rather, even if you have talent, you can still get your ass handed to you. That's not unfair, it's just how the world works. I mean, really. Unlike Kirk no Basket, Ahiru no Sora also doesn't use the Ultra Instinct thing they call zone. It has mentioned it because it is a term that actually exists, but characters don't become one-man armies just by entering this state. And they don't unlock superficial things like Emperor's Eye either. Why, you may ask? Well, let's be real. Have you ever seen a basketball player unlocking Emperor's Eye in the middle of an NBA game? Of course not. Because that doesn't happen in real life, or at least they don't show it on TV. The way I see it, Ahiru no Sora is pretty down to earth. It feels like a story of real people who have real problems, and they have to overcome their struggles using real life approaches. Exactly. Ahiru no Sora has the real life element, and that makes all the difference. I watched Kirk no Basket a few years ago, and while it was giving me goosebumps every single episode, within just a few weeks, I forgot most of the stuff that ever happened in the anime. On the other hand, it's been a year since this anime came out, and everything is still as vivid as it always has been. It feels like I have developed an emotional connection with the characters, and it doesn't even matter if they win. I just want to see them grow and mature, and then maybe one day they'll win. Remember the #1 sports anime cliche? How every sports anime begins with an underdog team who aims for the top and then gradually makes their way to the top? Well, this anime is no exception, yet it also steps it up a notch. The thing is, the main character's team is way too much of an underdog that even calling it an underdog may seem like an understatement. You'll see exactly what I mean when you watch the anime. I mean, they literally have to start a team from scratch. Also, one thing to note, you see, in team-oriented sports like basketball, miracles never happen. In that sense, I prefer Ahiru no Sora over Kirk no Basket. Because let's be honest, Kirk no Basket sometimes feels like more of an action anime than a sports anime. Like we all know, Meteorama never misses a three-pointer. Trivial things like position of the ball, distance from the basket, and nature of the pass don't even matter to him. It's like this, the ball touches his hands and goes straight into the basket. Swish. and his shooting range is the entire court. Even top-class NBA players can barely pull it off once. Doing it twice is already asking for the impossible. On the other hand, we have Sora from Ahiru no Sora. He also happens to be a three-point shooter, but he practices 1,000 shots a day, and even then he can't get them all in. He has weaknesses, and he is nowhere near overcoming them. I know people like to say how Kuroko no Basket is the best sports anime and all, even though everybody and their dogs already know Haikyuu is the best sports anime. It's just that people like action, and Kuroko no Basket is just that. With fluid jaw-breaking animation, Kuroko no Basket is unarguably the best animated basketball anime out there. I mean, come on, it's Production IG that animated this show. And unironically, they animated Haikyuu too. But the anime we are talking about is Ahiru no Sora, and its animation pales in comparison to both Kuroko no Basket and Haikyuu. But hey, when have we started judging anime based just on their animation? I know, right? Back in the day, anime was good because the anime was actually good. There weren't any stereotypes. If it has bad animation, it is bad. Or why are the lips looking like that? Or who knows how edgy teenagers have been judging anime all these years. Well, now that it has come to this, I'm going to tell you exactly how good the animation of Ahiru no Sora is. I'd say it's good enough. It's better than average, but there's still a lot of still frames. And by a lot, I mean a lot. It's fine if you don't notice them, but if you notice them even once, it kind of starts to get a little uncomfortable. Yet, there are also times when the still frames just add up to the ongoing hype. So while Ahiru no Sora may be an underrated gem, its animation does have a few shortcomings. But even so, there were a few times when I couldn't even believe that, is this really Ahiru no Sora? The animation and art can sometimes get surprisingly good. Now, there's another reason why people shouldn't call Ahiru no Sora the next Kuroko no Basket. Actually, the Kuroko no Basket manga came out in 2008 and ended in 2014, while the Ahiru no Sora manga came out 5 years earlier in 2003, and it's still ongoing. That's right, the story has been ongoing for almost 14 years. When you think of it like that, the anime is only the tip of the iceberg. We have an awful lot to look forward to. In Japan, it is one of the best basketball sports manga, second only to Slam Dunk. Remember how I said that Ahiru no Sora also mentions Zone? Well, even if it does, Kuroko no Basket came out 5 years later, so don't think even for a second Ahiru no Sora copied that from Kuroko no Basket. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The Ahiru no Sora anime is still only adapting the chapters that were released in the first 2 years of the manga, right? Well, actually, in the recent episodes, there was a scene that gave off Kuroko no Basket vibes. The author, or mangaka in Japan, as you would say, didn't like that, and he just straight up tweeted, "You are the worst," to the studio. What he didn't like was how the eyes of one of the characters started glowing all of a sudden. So as the original creator of Ahiru no Sora, he told the studio off. And that just shows how much Hinata admires his own work. Now you must be wondering, why did it take 13 years for them to adapt to Ahiru no Sora? Well, the author himself said in the 39th volume of his manga that he has been approached with offers to adapt his work many times, but he didn't like the direction studios were going to take, so he humbly declined. I'm going to leave a link to that article in the description box below. It's very interesting and you should check it out. Anyways, only one episode is left till the end of this anime. As things are, I am not sure how long it will take until we get the next season. Well, it shouldn't take that long because they already have enough source material to adapt 200 or 300 more episodes. I could be exaggerating there. But let's just wait and see. But before that, let's talk a bit more about Ahiru no Sora. The story begins with a boy named Sora. And it's crazy how it wasn't until the 47th episode that I realized how the name Ahiru no Sora literally means Sora the duck. Or to be more precise, the duck sky. Which is pretty interesting if you ask me, considering how the main character Sora is almost as short as an elementary schooler, despite being a high school student. So it is an indication that on the basketball court, he can't fly. He enters high school and decides to join their basketball club. Little did he know that the basketball club is comprised entirely of these so-called delinquents who only registered as club members because it is mandatory for every student to be a part of a club. It takes a few episodes, but the little guy manages to convince the delinquents into acting like an actual basketball team. Still, they lack both skills in the experience, and considering how Sora wants to compete in the inner high, the current state of the team is quite depressing and sad. At least that's how it all begins. Slowly but surely, the characters start getting explored and we begin to get a feel for them. The newly formed basketball team gets into practice matches and the characters gradually begin to get accustomed to the game. As I said before, this is an actual underdog story. We don't know how many losses and setbacks they would have to face to get any results. Because in the real world, only effort and skills count. A newly formed team can never win against actual teams. The slice of life element along with the basketball sport gives this anime a realistic touch. It tells us that it's never too late to try, and it shows us how we should never give up. And I haven't even talked about the emotional aspect of this anime. The thing is, it isn't unusual for sports anime to make you cry, yet in this case, even though it's just a sports anime, some episodes were just too depressing. So back to the question, why should you watch Ahiru no Sora? It is a sports anime filled with characters that you can empathize with, situations that can also happen in real life, cringe moments that can make you both laugh and cringe. Remember, people are supposed to be cringe in real life. And lastly, the moments that make you sad. It is everything a sports anime is supposed to be. Sure, the pacing might seem slow at times and the characters can be cringe, but there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it just makes Ahiru no Sora more nostalgic. So when you consider all that, things like minor animation, inconsistencies, and pacing become trivial. Now, there's only one episode left. If you want to enjoy the climax, you better catch up before the last episode.